Let's proceed to part two of why I married his ass in the first place. Now, I know a lot of you all would like me to just cut to the chase and just say that this is why I married him in the first place. But in order for me to be fair, I can't do that just yet. Because if I begin to repeat all of the things that were wrong and what was jacked up and about how he wooed me in, I would be doing my ex-husband a disservice. I would be saying that everything that happened in my life was because of my ex-husband. See, my ex-husband didn't destroy me, even though I told you guys that he possibly could have. I was hurt a long time before he ever came along. But see, the problem was that I couldn't understand it and I couldn't see it and I couldn't feel it because I was so confident. I had this bold exterior. But my pain began damn near at infancy. See, for those of you that know my story, you already know that I was already a little jacked up in the head because what kind of mother could have 5 kids but give away her firstborn child? See, I was dealing with rejection from the very beginning. But not only was I dealing with the rejection from my mother, I was dealing with rejection from a man. See, every woman's first point of reference when it comes to love, it should be her daddy. Don't get it twisted. This is not about airing out his dirty laundry or making him look bad. But see, I agree with some of the things that Tyler Perry says at the end of his plays. If we keep these family secrets, then nobody can heal and nobody can grow. And see, some of you sisters, you jacked up and you torn and you hurt inside for the simple fact that you don't want to taint the ones that hurt you. But I stand here today and say I'm willing to do it. Not because I don't care about him, but because there's one man that could be hurt by my testimony. And that's only if he hasn't forgiven himself. But there are dozens of women that could be healed by it. And for that reason, I have to speak. But see, my daddy was 16 when I was born. What was my daddy going to do? He wasn't no man. And shortly after he graduated from high school, he got shipped off to the military. Yeah, my granny made him own up a little bit. And between the 1st grade and the 4th grade, I lived with him in Garden City, Kansas, and Springfield, Missouri. But it wasn't long before the 5th grade came along, and I was right back on my grandmother's doorstep. And I saw my father every once in a while. And he promised to pick me up. But you all know, you've been that kid that sat on the couch, that fell asleep with your coat on, that sat, that stared, that looked out the window, only for daddy to never come, and I always called with a reasonable excuse. So my first point of reference when it came to love, my sister, was the reality that the men you love the most are the ones that are going to disappoint you. Well, I was raised in my grandmother's house, so all should be well, right? My grandfather was there. Nah, that didn't help either. He worked all day. He was never there. My point of reference was my grandmother. See, my grandmother was always at home, and she always cooked, and she always cleaned, and she always took care of everything. So my point of reference as a woman is that a woman is always there. But a man is always out in the streets, making money to pay bills and doing whatever it is that he damn well pleases. Like I told you, I didn't have the right examples. There were no daddy-daughter dates. That's new space age stuff to me. That's brand new. I never did that. And all I was taught was, you're worth the wait. Don't give it up. That meant nothing to me. It meant nothing to me at all. Don't have sex right away. Let a man take your hand. Let him marry you. Let him honor you. Be an honorable woman. But how can you be an honorable woman if you don't love yourself and you don't know what love looks like? So I was broken. I was tore up way before there was a man that I would marry that would give me pure hell. So in order for you to understand why I married his ass in the first place, you have to understand that I was jacked up from day one. Daddy didn't love me. Grandpa didn't love me. Grandpa didn't love the woman in the house. That was the rock. So when I finally met a guy, and I remember him forever, his name was Damon, the first guy to treat me nice and to be special to me, I fell in love. I fell in love at the tender age of 14. Oh, yes, I did. And he gave me his herringbone chain, because that's what was in back in the day. I remember when he gave me $20. And I also remember my grandmother, not knowing any better with her 8th grade education, saying, you must be a hoe. Because a man wouldn't give you stuff like that unless he was getting something. I hadn't had sex with Damon. But once again, my spirit was crushed. See, sister, I feel you, because see, your spirit is crushed just right along with my spirit, because our parents and our grandparents, they didn't know any better, and they were always nervous about everything going wrong, and so they said everything wrong to us, and unfortunately, that became the source of our motivation. So since she accused me of doing it, and she was going to dog me, maybe I should do it anyway. At least that's what was in my subconscious. But all it took was 2 seconds to go visit him, to go over to his house, to go into his room, and for him to close the door. For all you mamas out there that got sons that don't have a problem letting them have female company, shame on you. Because he kissed me, and he touched me, and I didn't have a Hollywood romantic experience. Oh, I felt some kind of way. But all he did was take off the bottom. And he did something. And it was very wet. And when it was over, I did feel kind of good. I felt kind of awkward. I felt kind of violated. I felt kind of excited. I felt like, oh shit, am I going to be able to cover this up when I get back home? I thought I did. I thought I did a really, really, really good job. Until about 3 months later. And I remember my aunt was in town from the military. And out of nowhere, she says to me, August, are you pregnant? And I can remember the tears immediately shot down my face. And she said, you know, if you want to keep it, you have a choice. But like a flash out of a movie is seen, automatically I'm sitting at a round table and they figuring out who's going to take me to Planned Parenthood. And the next thing I know, I'm sitting in front of a lady who's telling me that, you know, you have a choice. But I ain't stupid. What's wrong with our parents? Why did they think that we were stupid? You didn't consult me. You didn't talk to me. What you did is you just took me to this place. I've heard about it, but now I'm about to experience it. And I'm sitting there thinking about my aunt, and I'm thinking about this woman at Planned Parenthood, and I'm saying, y'all got to be out of y'all mind. The decision has been made. The queen of the throne is spoken. I can't have my baby. And they made you wait 24 hours to come back to make sure that that's what you were going to do, or before you could set an appointment. Now, here's the other thing. It happened they found out right at Christmas break. Everybody's broke after Christmas, right? Because you spend all your money buying Christmas gifts. But baby, they rounded up their money. And before I knew it, to make sure that it didn't cost them extra money, because I was already over 3 months pregnant, and if I got to 4 months in a few days, it was going to cost them even more, I was on the abortion table. And I remember when I went back to school, Sam Monroe, I remember him seeing me in the hallway one day, and he said, August, are you pregnant? I was like, no, I didn't lie, because I wasn't anymore. And see, what was birthed from that moment was a young woman who was very angry because for the first time, she saw the current reality of what it looked like to have no control. And I declare and I decree that going forward from that moment on, everything was going to go the way that August wanted it to go. Now, the good thing is I was ambitious. So at school, I was like, yes, I'm going to make good grades. I'm going to pave my future. I'm going to make sure I can go to college. But at home, I was like, I ain't hearing shit y'all got to say. Because y'all little uppity Christian people that believe in Jesus, you didn't tell Grandpa. Because see, grandpa was going to get me and get the rest of the family and make me have that baby that they didn't want to support because I couldn't support it. I didn't have no job. I didn't have anything. I resented my whole family. They never thought about it. They never knew. I spent my entire winter break my freshman year depressed. And I faked it till I made it, so to speak, when I went back to school. And I would spend many, many, many more years haunted by the fact that I was a murderer. And it would be my first, but it wouldn't be my last. So sister, as I'm telling the story about why I married his ass in the first place, you need to understand that I was torn from day one. See, the thing about it is you could be in the streets and you can have hustle and you can know all about niggas and you can read them up and down, left and right, back and forward. But when your heart gets penetrated, your perception will be off. My perception was literally, it was just completely just jacked up. So I just need you to understand that I was an emotional wreck before I met this man. But y'all heard me tell y'all how I had found God and I was going to church and I knew that I was supposed to be an honorable woman and I was going to be virtuous and the spirit had came down and let me see that I was supposed to be so much more than I actually was. I'm like, okay, I'm finna change. I'm finna be somebody. But see, I was masking everything under religion. See, you don't go and hear a word and then completely metamorphose and everything is okay. People will tell you that all the time. Oh, I just heard a word from God and I stopped smoking cigarettes. Give me a break. That's one in a freaking million. You've been debating about not smoking for years, but you finally got the courage and the strength to stop doing it. I was angry, you guys. I stayed angry. And like I said, my anger manifested in my relationships with men. So my daddy didn't give a damn about me. My granddaddy didn't give a damn about me. And then when I did finally get a man that I thought gave a damn about me, that got messed up because I got pregnant and grandma said, if you don't get the hell away from my granddaughter, I'm going to make sure that I kill you. I'm like, damn, Christian folks know they some gangsters. So I was hurt. What's your hurt, sister? What's your pain? Was it your daddy? Was it your grandfather? Was it your brother? Was it molestation? What was it that made you have to fight against wanting to love, but still having a war with the natural instinct inside of you to want to be loved? So meeting Mr. So-called right, no, that wasn't on him. See, that rebel that raised up inside of me, I had something to say about everything. I could have gave a damn less what anybody in my family had to say. I was always known as the one that would have something to say. And I would be so freaking angry. And I thought that it was gone, right? Because I was praying and I was fasting and I was going to church and everything was good. But when I met this awesome man and he came into my life showing me his check stubs and letting me know how much money he made and being a good guy to his kids, even though it was a red flag, he had two in two different states, I chose to make excuses for him. I don't know what it is about us sisters, why we always justify their shortcomings, but we do. We find one silver lining in the gray cloud and poof, all of a sudden, all is okay. Well, you want to know another red flag that came? He lost his job shortly before we got married. So this will lead into fact number 2 behind why I married a man who would almost literally be the death of me. Because I was saved, y'all. All of the signs were right there in front of me because he was everything that I thought that he could and he should be. And when he lost his job, something triggered now because I'm ambitious. I made my own money. I've taken care of myself. Nobody's bought my baby any Pampers. Nobody's ever paid my rent. I was paying for my own cell phone before it was even popular in 1995. I already had a cell phone. So I'm like ambitious. And nigga, you done went and lost your job. But Lord, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding. And we ended up getting into a little bit of a tussle because we argued. He didn't hit me. He didn't push me. But it was a little bit of this and a little bit of this. And you need to go get a job. And you need to do that. And so you want to know what happened? In the middle of all of that stuff and a couple of little things getting knocked over, he called Granny. Look at him. He's such a good man. And what my grandmama do? She come over, start preaching that gospel, how you don't let the devil come in between a good thing. And I said, okay, Lord, but she is more seasoned than I am. So maybe I should listen to grandma. Then I let her meet my daddy. Love him, but poor point of reference. And you know what my daddy said? He cool. If you want to marry him, go right on ahead. So I just prayed and I fasted and I just believed that he was the one for me. But then the icing on the cake was one day my daughter said, I like to call James daddy. Oh, Lord, that's the sign right there. I ain't never taught my daughter to think like that, say that, and she'd have met this man and she want to say that, so he got to be the one. All of these superficial reasons were motivating me to take a chance with somebody who had a major red flag come up. So I did it. I married him. I married him without a job, with 2 kids out of town, with 2 different baby mamas. Why? Because I believed in God. Because I had faith. Is that you, sister? I told you I've been some of every kind of woman. So you've already heard about the ambitious woman. You're hearing about the spiritual woman. You heard about the whorish woman. And you heard about the abortion woman. And they can just keep on coming. See, maybe now you understand why I'm so sensitive to positivity. Maybe now you begin to understand why I'm so sensitive to healing. Maybe now you begin to understand why I'm so sensitive to mindset and believing that anybody can break through anything because, damn, I done broke through just about everything there is to break through. There is no fear in my life. I move in accordance with what I desire now, but I didn't know what that was then. It was all based off of a wish and a hope and a dream. I wasn't getting anywhere thinking like that. The point is the validation was always external. There was never anything in me that was able to move with 100% sheer confidence. And let me tell you something, fathers out there, this is really critical. You know, this is going to be kind of like the TV show. You know how you hear something, you get an excerpt and you go to the past and then you hear something, then they go to the future. I remember my father never came to visit me while I was married to that man. Except for once. And he wouldn't even come in the house. I remember my husband letting me know that he was outside on the sidewalk. Told me that he just wanted to let me know that he loved me. And unfortunately for me, that meant that my daddy was drunk. Because that's when he was affectionate or said anything that was endearing. But after I divorced him, after I left him, that is when he came to visit me and said, you know, I ain't never liked that nigga in the first place. Really? Really? You couldn't tell me that before? Oh, no, nobody can tell August anything because she thinks she knows it all. She doesn't listen to sound advice. But I do. And I saw it. And I didn't get it. So, yeah, I get it, sister. You did what you did because it seemed feasible. It made sense. It started off right. And we're so sensitive to all of the struggles of other people. Why? Because that's an internal mechanism. We always struggling and suffering and going through some garbage. And if we pushing through anything, we just want to automatically believe that anybody else will push through anything. But if it's one thing that I learned by the time that I got older, that at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, the way that a man is built and the way that a woman is built is completely different. And they are built to take more and to handle more emotionally and physically more than we ever can. And so my first piece of advice wrapped up in this whole story about why I married him in the first place is, baby girl, you have to start giving him some responsibilities. He has to be worthy. See, what I should have said was, yeah, I know we said we was going to get married in April and I know stuff can happen, but this must be the real sign from the Lord. So we're going to see how fast your ass rebound and go find yourself another job. But I didn't do that because I threw caution to the wind and I let religion invade instead of spirituality. Do you feel me? Do you hear me? Because see, a lot of you, I hear it all the time. I hear sisters all the time say that I know that I shouldn't be in this mess, but I'm praying and I'm trusting in the Lord. I remember one sister talking to me and talking about I need to get out of this. And she even received a word from God saying that she was never supposed to get in it, but she was praying for a sign from God how to get out of it because God didn't believe in divorce. Nigga, he never believed in your marriage. But that's what we go through. That's what I went through. I was trying to find a way to validate being with somebody who would think that Our relationship was supposed to be wild and reckless. So I married him because at the end of the day, he was there. Because at the end of the day, he was something. Because at the end of the day, there was some kind of so-called spiritual signs. And at the end of the day, I also was fighting so hard to revert from the negative that I went all the way left field. See, I said this yesterday, and I have to bring it in here again because I really need you all to understand that at some point in your life, you recognize how to be calm. You recognize that this little even keel thing, it's okay. Yeah, sometimes you got to get up and hustle and bustle because you got to get out to work. And some days may be more stressful than others, but we're not supposed to be all the way left and all the way right because, see, when you swing the pendulum over, it always has to swing all the way right back. And so since I spent so many years doing whatever I wanted to do with the wrong men, I was so bent out of shape on being an honorable, virtuous woman that I was just going to seal the deal with anything that was willing to put their name on the contract. And it damn near cost me my life. So, sister, that's part of the reason why I married him. It's also going to be part of the reason why I stayed. Because I just wanted to have hope in God. But if it's one thing that I've learned, you can fast until you're anorexic and you can pray until you got arthritis in your knees. But the Bible says that a man comes to God because God draws him. We can't make anybody do anything. See, the one great gift that God gave us was the freedom of choice. And so you can fast and you can labor and you can pray. And I'm not saying that it doesn't work and I'm not saying that it isn't wise. I'm just saying that conversion is still upon the person. So this is why I married him. I remember it had only been 2.5 months. Now remember I met this guy at the skating rink, right? He was supposed to respect my gift, my craft. I love rolling. I was a roller. So much that I used to just drive out of town with groups of people so we could go and skate in Chicago and skate in Atlanta or skate in Memphis. Matter of fact, we were so hip with it, we would go every other night. Every other Wednesday, we drive down to Memphis, get in the car at 5, get there at about 9, 10, skate to 1, get back on the highway. We was just young and having fun. And he knew this coming into the relationship, but you know what's really funny? He also had a jealous streak. This is when I found out that he also had a physical streak. So me and all of the guys and the girls that usually go on a trip, I'm like, oh, yeah, baby, you should come with us too. And he's like, you going on a trip? Well, you my wife, and what you going to be doing going with Al and all them? I'm like, are you serious? I ain't got nothing but love and respect for Al, but I don't want him. Did you look at him? That's not even my type. He brown-skinned, bald-headed, baby. You my light-skinned, fine boo. I don't want him. For real, he old. I like younger men, at least my age. Come on. Oh, no. That didn't work. And I was like, look, because y'all remember, I was strong. I was like, look, at the end of the day, I don't say nothing about you and your hobbies. This is what I do. You either trust me or you don't. I'm going to that skating rink, that skating party in Chicago. And that night, when he grabbed me and I snatched away, I'm like, dude, what's wrong with you? One thing led to another. It was pushing and shoving. And a little bit of gangster in me came out because I saw a bottle and I hurried up and pulled the top off of it. And before I knew it, I stole him in the eye. I actually was the first one to throw the real literal first punch, but he was the first one to violate my presence and my body and my value as a woman. And I was scared as hell. His daughter was in town. My daughter was 8. His parents, his grandma and his mom lived right around the corner. It's the middle of the damn night, and I made one of the stupidest decisions that I ever could have made in my life. I told my 8-year-old daughter to grab her little sister and to go walk around because I didn't want her to see what was going on because I had literally lost my mind. How in the hell am I in this situation? And I didn't really know what to do. I made sure in the end by the next morning that my 8-year-old was secure. But in order for me to sort through this and to make sure I didn't kill a motherfucker, I got in that car and I rode with my friends and I went to Chicago and I stayed in an apartment. In a hotel room by myself and fought to enjoy myself, and then I came back. But there's more to it. See, this is why I married the man. See, it wasn't just because I didn't get love from my mother. It wasn't just because I didn't get love from my father. It wasn't just because I didn't get love from my grandfather. My whole family neglected me. See, they thought August was just this crazy rebel, not realizing that psychologically, when a child is stripped away from their parent when they're barely 18 months old anyway, and they can't verbalize what's going on with them. See, I was jacked up from the beginning. But I'm telling you, going fast forward, I'm healed from that. I understand they couldn't do what they didn't know, but I need you to be in the moment at that time. What really took me over the edge while I'm sitting there debating what to do, and I'm looking at the date, and I'm like, okay, it's still within 90 days. Maybe I should file for an annulment. What should I do? Should I stay? Should I go? Do you know that nobody came to my rescue? Nobody said anything. And the few people that I did know, they were religious. And so we prayed together and we waited together. But you want to know the straw that broke the camel's back? Was a few weeks later, I saw one of my aunts who had a barbershop around the corner. And she's like, yeah, I heard about one of my clients said that they saw KK walking around the street in the middle of the night, blah, blah, blah. I was sitting there thinking to myself, bitch, and you didn't come around here to help me? See, what y'all got to understand is that when you don't have love, and then when you get some form of love, if it's already dysfunctional from the start, you're going to stay in dysfunction. So I was so busy being upset at the love that I didn't get that I wasn't even giving full attention to the bullshit that I was in, and I stayed. And every day it would get worse, and this nigga would do something different. And see, here's the thing, women, where you really, 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 really had to understand, or what you have to understand, is that all of these dark secrets that you guys see, your secrets might not be the same as mine. They may not entail all of that stuff, but I'm trying to get you to understand, in my transparency, is that you got secrets. And you can mask them and you can camouflage them and being a good parent and being a good wife and being a good employee and being a good business owner by being fulfilled, by going to college, by getting degrees. All you are doing is still trying to find some form of external validation, and it's masking your pain. It's not dealing with your pain. And for that reason, you've grown. And you're sitting here and you're looking at the clock and saying, this is not where I was supposed to be at this time, not on this day, and not in this year. Now, I may have figured it out way back in the day, because y'all know where I'm at now. Y'all know it's all good. Matter of fact, it's all great. 10 years strong with the man that's in my life. However, I needed help back then. And I'm talking to you all right now because I'm trying to figure out who needs help now. So let me digress. I'll give you another chapter just so you can see just how bad it got. The day that I was pregnant and got taken away to the hospital to get put in the psych ward. Yeah, I know I was there too, right? But before I do that, what I need you all to understand is I'm a life coach because it's a calling. See, anybody can give themselves a title. Dr. Love did that. But not everybody can respond to a calling. There's a certain degree of a type of individual that has been equipped to help people reform past their pain. There's a certain type of person that can find motivation in any kind of experience. There's a certain kind of person that can inspire just about anybody they touch, whether they're black or white, they're man or woman, because it is a calling. And don't get me wrong, my services that I provide, they are for all races, they're for all creeds, they're for male or female. Yes, I work with them both. But I am putting a personal plea out to my sisters for the simple fact. I think that it's absolutely freaking obnoxious that I should have to beg you to work with you. I think it's absolutely obnoxious that I should damn near pervert myself and underbid my pricing just to make it attractive for you. But then I have to sit back down and I have to say, but that sister's still hurting just like you. And then when I meditate and I look and I say, but it's not just my sisters. See, something has happened in the world, period. And I'm not going to go back and debate and be anti-feminism and all of that crap. But something shifted. And we began to bear and take on more than our beautiful, soft, luscious skin could handle. So, no pictures, know anything. But if I got to strip myself naked in order for you to understand, whoever it is out there that's not listening, see, it could be hundreds of y'all that watch the video, and it literally can only be 2 or 3 of y'all that need to hear the message. I don't care. See, when you don't have any shame anymore, that's when you're free. That's when you're liberated. But if you're hiding and you're masking your story, if you're the one who cries sometimes when nobody's around, you need help. But don't worry. I'm going to stop there. I know you'll come when you're ready. But now you got an idea of why I married his ass in the first place. And now you got a glimpse of an idea of why I stayed. But it gets deeper. So we'll come back tomorrow and we'll do part 3. You guys have a good night.